Good evening. It is Tuesday, April 19th, 2016. My name is Jacob.
And I'm Danielle.
And this is the Proteus Podcast, ideas in all shapes and forms.
Though this week, probably ideas in all kinds of sickness and a little bit of health.
Yes, indeed. For those of you listening, I apologize. I have suffered a head cold and do have a mild cough, so I'll do my best to mute myself.
So if he goes mute and you just hear me like humming the old good Stars and Stripes, the bars and glars or whatever the national anthem nicknames are, well, that's why.
Amber
Jake is killing
waves
himself.
of grain. Wait, okay, what?
Yeah. Amber wave. Oh, let's not go down that path.
Yes.
I mean, really,
No one
singing
signed up
this
to
far.
hear me sing,
Yeah, no one
even
except
if
for
it
that
is
one
the
guy.
dulcet tones of my gravelly voice.
The dulcet tones. So how are you doing this week?
I had a head cold. I'm getting better from a head cold. Instead of resting today, I did something stupid. So, yes.
Wait, what stupid thing have you done?
Well, I decided that because I was getting over a head cold, today is the perfect day to go do some yard work.
Okay.
Like a stupid git.
So you're like, oh, I'm getting over this head cold. It's amazing. I'm gonna go and trench myself in pollen.
And pollen and manual labor. Yeah.
Well,
They went well together. Now, really, it's not quite season for pollen yet. It's getting close, but just, raking up all the leaves, and it was actually virtually hot today. It got over 80 degrees, and I'm out there in the yard wallering around like a stupid git, so that probably set me back a good 20 minutes on my recovery.
wait. So did you just say it actually hit 80 degrees?
Yeah, it'd been threatening to for the last week, and now it's finally getting there. It seems early. April seems early for this level of warmth. I really expected another freeze by 4 now. I mean, around now, but it's not acting like it's going to do it.
89 in Seattle yesterday.
Isn't that lovely? And everyone says it rains all the time there.
Yeah.
Turns out, though, if you look up the statistics, New York City gets more rainy days.
It's true. Yeah, and you know who propagates the rumor about Seattle raining all the time?
Probably New York City residents.
No, Seattleites. We don't want anyone else to move here.
That's a good plan. Just go with it.
So yeah, it got really hot. This same month, 9 years ago, we had epic record snowstorms. The same day. So that's a little bit of a random fact that you probably didn't want to or need to know. But what else are we gonna do? But with that, Jake must be having one of his coughing fits. Hear that silence on the other end? The lack of the dulcet tones of graveliness.
Yes, the graveliness. No, I mashed the mute button wrong. I am very good at this game. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
You should have just gone with, like, I'm dying from a coughing fit. Why do you mock me? Then
Yes,
I might
indeed.
have felt bad.
Well,
But now I'm just gonna
instead
be
of talking about the weather, because anyone can do that.
So at work, before we get into more heavier things, I found a comrade in arms, so to speak.
Oh dear.
I found a fellow lover of the game Battlefield 1942.
There are so few of them remaining. All of them have been slain by Battlefield 3 and the like.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about it, and we have both committed to reinstalling this week and playing this weekend together.
That is commendable at the very least, and wonderful at beyond that.
So I think that you should join us.
I'm gonna have to see if I can even find a way to do that, but yeah. All of my greatest feats of gaming happened in Battlefield 1942.
Yeah, like that one time.
And some of your greatest feats of gaming that I was ever witness to happened in 1942.
Well, that's just because I have this sick, demented mind of how can I break the physics of this game?
And this wasn't even you trying to break the physics. Just some of the greatest moments in gaming happened when I watched you shoot down a fighter jet with an anti-ship cannon.
Wasn't that great? I wasn't an anti-ship cannon.
Yes, it was.
That was a bazooka.
No, you did it both things. You shot down on that one map that had nothing but 2 aircraft carriers and the islands with a couple anti-ship cannons, and it was mostly just a giant plane battle. I watched you use the anti-ship cannon to shoot down a plane.
So good.
It was so good. Love that game.
The guy was like, ha ha ha, great shot. And I was like,
This is, how did you do that? That's impossible. Good job. And then
Was it?
continue with the game. It was so much fun.
So much fun. Also in the gaming world, at the end of the month, the 29th, which is next Friday, not this coming Friday, but the next, the new season of Diablo starts.
Huh.
Of the Diablo 3. I have got Aaron back into it, and we should play.
Yeah, I'm still having trouble sitting in a chair for long periods of time is the problem.
You know what you need? You need to change your desk into a standing desk.
No, forget that noise. I have played that game, and it is less pleasant than you could ever possibly imagine. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever worked retail? Have you ever been a cashier? Have you ever been required to stand in one place for 6 hours straight?
Mm-hmm.
It sucks, doesn't it?
Well, I worked in a game store at that time, so
See,
there were some benefits.
yeah, but the whole being in what I can't do the standing desk thing. It makes me angry
Okay.
and violent.
So you need a recumbent computer desk.
I really just need my back to get better. It's really kind of what it boils down to. We're working on it. We'll get there.
Is it working well?
Some days, other days, no.
Some days yes, some days not so much.
So anyways, back on topic, because there was no topic, because we play this game a lot like they play Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Well, so let's loop back to the weather real quick, because
Okay.
we're having abnormally hot weather in Seattle. We're having unreasonable moderate weather in Alpine, Texas. Go figure.
I don't know
And
about
meanwhile, in Houston, at my family's shooting range,
that. Gallons and gallons of water.
there's currently 10 feet of water.
10 feet?
10
I thought,
feet.
where did they get the extra 9?
Well, so the thing is that you have to realize where the shooting range is at, is that it's bordered on 3 sides by a creek.
That's an interesting accomplishment of physics and drainage.
Well, it's just, a plot of land that was,
In the crook of a creek.
in the crick of a creek. So, I was speaking with my brother today, which was a miracle in its own right.
Oh.
And they lost just about everything.
Well, shit. It all floated away.
Well, more like, guns don't really float.
Oh, it's just underwater.
Yeah.
Eee. Well,
Yeah.
time to invest in watertight safes for the next rebuild.
No joke. So, so that happened for all of our listeners down in Houston. If we have any listeners anywhere. That sucks. I've been there.
Yeah,
Be safe.
That's rough.
Don't go into what looks to be like shallow water.
Oh, and
Don't
to
do
all
that.
of our listeners in Houston, don't worry about saving armadillos. They can fend for themselves. Try to save other human beings.
And why
Because
would
that
you
was
want
on the
to?
news that someone saved an
No.
armadillo from the Houston flooding, and I was
No.
really ashamed of the human race.
No.
Yes, it's a thing
Did
that
they
happened.
get bit?
I hope so.
Because then they're gonna have to kill the armadillo anyway to see if it's one of the ones that carry rabies.
Yeah.
Good job.
It's not
person.
rabies that they carry, it's leprosy, so that's fun too.
Leprosy.
At least that's
Yay.
treatable now. But really,
Wait,
don't,
leprosy's treatable? Do we still have leopard colonies?
Not in this country, because we can treat it. It's only a third world country kind of a problem now.
Oh.
You know, money and medicine do amazing things. It's really sad that that's true, that other places still have that, but hey, we're working on it, and maybe as some point in the future, we'll all be a unified people without leprosy.
So, armadillos can carry rabies.
Armadillos are nasty little creatures, and you shouldn't mess with them.
Yeah, they're nasty. They're gross. And,
it's a creature that couldn't decide if it wanted to be a mammal or a lizard. And that's what, there you go.
Oh, man. There's a website dedicated to how to get rid of armadillos.
See, they didn't, anyways.
Huh. So anyway, so all my thoughts go out to Houstonians in the Bayou City. Stay somewhat dry. Be not drowning, Houston.
Yeah. And to all the rest of you that are thinking about building a city, up on top of the hill. On top of the hill is the key, people. There you go.
Yeah, not in the middle of the bayou.
Yeah.
It's a bad
and to
idea.
all of the non-sentient listeners out there, the trick is to bang the rocks together, people.
Bang them hard.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you'll get something of use, like broken hands.
Yeah. I need to reread the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, speaking of that.
Oh, it's so good.
It very much is. Although I am extremely happy about the book I am reading right now and would highly recommend it. I'm not even finished with it, but it has had all the right twists and turns and just some of the most colorfully descriptive dialogue at times that I am quite enamored with it.
Now, when you say colorfully descriptive, are you saying that they swear a lot?
Not necessarily. There is a fair amount of swearing because this is a book about thieves. But some of the descriptions of things and parts of the world are just a whole new version of descriptive. Like, for example, let me give you this one example and I'll leave you alone for it. At one point, one of the characters is putting on a costume to make himself be able to go through the city all nondescript, and this is sort of set in a medieval-esque time period. It's very much a fantasy world. It's not set on Earth by any means. There's multiple moons, blah, blah, blah. The point is, though, is he puts on a coat, and it's described as a leather coat that appeared with the sheen similar to that of cooked sausages.
Huh. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, that's revolting. I can exactly imagine how gross a quote like that would look. He would be one of those nondescript people on the sidewalk that no one wants to touch.
Ugh. I just had a sneezing fit.
Ah, congratulations.
I heard most of what you said.
But the point is it's fascinatingly well written, and for those of you the two listeners we still have left after everything we've done, the book is The Lies of Locke Lamora, which is a name, L-O-C-K-E, Lamora, The Gentleman Bastards, Book 1 by Scott Lynch.
Okay.
And it is currently $2 on the Kindle, and you can have a paperback for $1.78 if you don't want Prime.
So there you go, people.
I recommend it. This is the first thing of Scott Lynch's that I am aware of having read, and I really recommend it. It is a fun read.
And if you guys don't know this, Jake here is a better knower of books than Oprah.
I am what many would have referred to me as the male Oprah. That's not actually true. I lied, but it sure sounds good.
The male Oprah?
Yeah, I'm not claiming that title. I just said that because it sounded funny.
Let's see here. I'm debating coming to Alpine.
You should definitely come to Alpine. We've got
Labor Day weekend
stuff. When's that? I don't
September?
calendar.
September?
September?
Yeah.
Ooh, September. Huh.
Oh, September.
We'll have to look at that because I usually am out of Alpine for a week in September.
Why? For For Labor Day, it would be the Labor Day is Monday, September 5th.
No, that'll be fine. Definitely should do that.
Yeah, I'm looking on flying into Midland on Thursday and leaving on Tuesday.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
my grandfather gets older at the ends of September, so we usually go see him.
Oh.
So
Well, that's a good reason to leave Alpine.
it really is.
Go celebrate your grandpa getting older.
He does it very well.
He does?
Yes. He's something
Does
like
he-
96, I think. I lose
Oh.
track.
You lose track.
Well, he's done it so many times now.
Well, that's true. Does he
Hmm.
lose track?
No,
Does he know
he's
how old he
sharper
is?
than brand new tack.
Brand new tack?
They let him renew his driver's license last year, right around his birthday. And that tells you what kind of man he is.
Well, he lives in Montana, though, right?
No, Nebraska. But still.
Nebraska?
No, Kansas. But still,
Kansas?
it's complicated.
I was just seeing how many states you're going to throw out.
Geography is hard, okay? And also, there's a weird part of the United States where a whole bunch of states come right together, and it's not the four corners, but it's just as good.
It's just as good.
It's like the three corners-ish.
It's like the 3/4-ish.
Yeah,
If you look
If you
from
look at a
this
map
place.
of Nebraska, there's a part of it that touches Kansas and Colorado. And it's right there. He's a
It's
nice...
right there.
Don't bother him, he's old. He doesn't need any strangers showing up.
and if you did bother him, he'd probably be pretty nice.
Yeah, he's cool.
But don't go looking for Granddaddy Jake.
Yeah, it's... Anyways.
Do we go down a weird tangent
That
there?
went down a strange rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen, and if you really want to shut this off now, I wouldn't blame you, but stick with us, we got some more dumb stuff to stay.
Yeah. I last week I ranted and I raved about rent inequality and bullshit landlords and the like.
Indeed.
It continues.
It continues.
It continues.
Hmm.
It's like a saga of hate
Wow.
and loathing that just keeps on giving.
Hmm.
You know, kind of like a RuneScape.
Wow. Thanks for that callback. That's been a long time ago. I have almost deleted all the information about that game from my brain to make room for other important shit.
Well, it doesn't look anything like the old RuneScape does.
It doesn't.
As a matter of fact, they're getting a new engine.
A third engine?
Yeah?
I might have to start playing again.
But anyway, as I was saying,
This is a very good Java-based time waster for our days in the lab.
well, yes, back then.
Back
And
when
then
that
they were
was all
like,
we could do.
let's make it pretty, and then I lost interest.
Well, they made it pretty and it made it harder to play because it didn't run good on almost anything.
So anyway, as I was saying, stupid rental bullcorn stuff. I for some reason I was
Go ahead
like,
and say it. I'll mark this podcast as explicit.
well, I was like, Jake's mom might listen to this.
She's a nice lady. She'll understand.
And I said, okay, people who jack up the rent 14% and don't obey the laws of giving proper notice, that's a bunch of bullshit, and they're all bastards.
I can't say that you're wrong. I think you've got that one right.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're just ignoring me, Jake.
Speaking of agreeing with people, we noticed at some point at work that we've taken to say, instead of saying you're right, we've taken to saying, well, you're not wrong. Which is a more inefficient way of saying it, but it just seems so right.
Yeah, it's kind of like an offhanded way of agreeing with someone, because it's like leaving that smidge of room of doubt.
Yeah, or
Well-
like, I wanted to insult you, but I can't, so here you are.
It's kind of like a slightly different way of saying like a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah, but we do this constantly, and it's kind of hilarious.
Don't do that with me.
You're not wrong.
God dang it! You know, I'm gonna come to Alpine Labor Day weekend, and
Yeah.
I'm going to put things underneath your feet.
That really doesn't seem as threatening as it should.
Like Jax. Or,
Ooh, or a Lego?
or a Lego. I'm going to bring Legos, and I'm going to put them underneath your feet when you aren't looking.
You are a cruel mistress.
Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, rent shenanigans. Been looking at rental places, and I have to say it's depressing.
Isn't it, though?
I don't want to move.
I hate moving. I've lived in the same place for like, holy
Forever?
smokes, it's been almost. I'm alarmed. I believe it may have been over 8 years now.
Oh man, you're getting close to a decade status.
Well, here's what's fun about it is because prior to where I live now, I moved more than once a year for the previous 8 years.
Well, that's the thing when you find a place that you really love.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, I figured this out at one point because I had to fill out some paperwork for the government that asked me to put down the addresses of everywhere I had lived for the last, at the time, I think it was 5 years.
Uh-huh.
And it took me a solid 2 hours of messing with it and calling people trying to figure out when exactly we had lived where because it was such a hectic and complicated collection of information.
Huh.
Yeah, it was nasty. And it's like, they're going to look at this and think I'm some kind of lunatic. I was in college, so it kind of compensates. But still, you've got half a dozen to a dozen addresses on there, and you lived, over the course of 2 or 3 years.
Oh man.
Yeah,
So
it's wild.
so site shift, and I'm not going to dwell on this long. Nor do I think that either of us want to dwell on this long. It looks like Donald Trump and Clinton won New York City or New York State.
Well, there was probably never any doubt.
Well,
on that particular state. It's never been a battleground state. It always goes hard one way or the other.
There's a lot of people feeling the burn
Yeah, I don't
in
know.
New York State. I mean, 42% in New York.
I read a fantastically interesting article the other day on Cracked.com, America's original humor site. That was
Nice plugger. Are they a sponsor now?
No, I just like to give people their dues, and that's what they call themselves.
Okay.
But it was an interview with a couple, 3 or so people from other countries, Canada and a couple others. I didn't pay attention to the nationalities, I'm sorry. I'm American, I don't pay attention to anything anymore. But it was outsiders' opinions and how they see the American election process. And it was really fascinating because it, shows us what the rest of the world thinks, and they're baffled by how long our elections last. In Canada, their record longest election was 11 weeks. And they thought that was ridiculous when they had to put up with their election for 11 weeks. So I kind of am jealous of them because I'm super worn out with this whole election thing and want it to be over. And we're not even halfway there.
We do have a really long election cycle.
2 years of this
mess. It
mess.
just keeps on getting longer.
Yeah, it gets longer and longer. It's been basically 2 years of who's going to run for president. Oh, this person's running for president. That person's an idiot and said something stupid. And then you get somebody else, and so on and so forth, until everyone in the country is about ready to rip their own brainstem out and skip rope with it in the middle of the nearest four-way intersection just to make it stop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Woof.
So I've pretty much quit reading the news. I bring it up to see if anything really bad has happened anywhere for me to, gloat about, and then I turn it off and go read tech news instead. But the general election cycle news, I am avoiding at great pains.
Oh, man. So, let's think here. I talked about Rent. You talked about books. We talked about the rain and the weather. We've talked about a good gambit of things. I think it's time we start talking about quotes. Do you have a quote you would like to share?
I have a quote, but I assume it's rather silly. Oh, this is a quote of my own. Let's do yours first.
Well, no, if yours is, I guess, yeah, mine's probably a little bit darker. Who knows? Mine is by Emile Zola. Is a quote from L'Argent. At the street corner, a one-story house built of freestone, but repulsively decrepit and filthy, seemed to command the entrance like a gal, and here indeed lived a La Macaine, like a vigilant proprietress, ever on the watch, exploiting in person her little population of starving tenants.
So what you're trying to tell me is the rent's too damn high?
The rent's too damn high!
Huh. Well, I suppose that those people, those particular vicars and landlords and so on and so forth, are plagued by the same things that happen in my quote, which I apparently wrote at some point, and I found this in my list. And the quote is, "My intentions were honorable, until I found out about the things you could do with intentions that weren't honorable."
That's not bad.
Yeah, because it's very true of almost everyone. So many of us start out with intentions that are entirely honorable, until you find out the things you can do with intentions that aren't honorable.
Yeah, aren't those things the pots?
I don't know, but, you know, some people would say that all the best things in life are the worst, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Well, okay, so this is what I need you to do.
Okay.
I need you to think extra hard about Labor Day weekend.
That's that one in September.
Yeah. Let me know.
I don't holiday well. Only the big ones are ingrained in my brain.
Well, it's going to be a holiday because I'm coming.
Yes.
Okay? So there's that. After that, this is homework for the people that might listen to us. Leave a review at Proteus Podcast on Twitter. Send us an email at proteuspodcast@gmail.com. You can leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Ooh, do you hear that siren?
Hi, police! Or whichever.
They're like, stop bugging the people. And so, yeah, I'm going to tell everyone that. Now, we're going to get to my personal favorite of the podcast.
The jaded meter.
How jaded are you?
Today? How jaded am I?
Yeah.
Well, seeing as I got my yard cleaned, I got some good news about a friend coming to visit me. And generally haven't been entirely miserable all day. I'm only like a 3.5.
Wow. You know...
Mainly because I remembered that we're having an election. I'd be less jaded if I hadn't thought about it.
You know, if you're going to continue to stay underneath the precipice of suck, we may have to rename the meter. The fulcrum of suck. Whoa. My building's being upended.
Ah, well, that'll save you the trouble. If you're evicted by a bulldozer upending the entire building, you probably get some kind of reparations from someone.
You know that scene in Robin Hood Men in Tights?
I don't.
Have you ever seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Oh, yes. I do recall where they took the building.
Yeah, the castle's being
repossessed. Yeah, I remember now. It's been years since I watched that. It was
Dude,
quite
you
good,
should
though.
watch that film. So good. I'm at a 6.
A 6 because the rent's too damn high.
Because the rent's too damn high! Mother truckers.
You know what? When I grew up, I want to have Christopher Walken hair.
Same here. Christopher Walken, more cowbell.
I mean, I thought of that because I thought of the picture of the man that yelled the rent's too damn high, and his hair was Christopher Walken hair.
Oh man, you know what we should do? We should send an email to Christopher Walken asking him to call into our podcast.
And then I have to figure out how to make a call-in work. So let me sort that out first. So we got to have a less reputable call-in guest to disappoint before we get someone good.
No. I think that if we have something hilariously tragic, like, like, catastrophic. That could be the thing.
Yeah, it could be.
Welcome to the worst interview on the planet with
Yeah,
Proteus Podcast.
the worst interview on the planet. That's a real possibility. Well, anyways, I've been Jacob,
I'm still Danielle.
and we have been the Proteus Podcast. Have a good night.
Good night.